Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the webinar about your body language and could it possibly be sabotaging your message? Let me do two introductions today. Let me start with my first introduction. Good morning, everybody. I'm pleased and excited to be here today, and I'm going to share my knowledge about body language with you. Please don't hang up on me. Let me start that again. Good morning, everyone, and I'm really pleased to be here today. And I want to share my knowledge and my understanding around your body language. And you can put non-verbal communication. So the two introductions, one of them was a voice that really clearly didn't want to be there and wasn't all that excited at all. And the other one, hopefully, is a voice that demonstrates that I do wish to be here. I do wish to share my knowledge. And indeed, this is part of my passion, helping people become more effective, more confident, overcoming their fear of public speaking, and really engaging an audience with strong and powerful messages. So welcome. For those of you who haven't participated before, please ask questions as we go. Just type into the dialog box, type in comments, feel free to take notes, and more importantly, apply the knowledge or the information to your own circumstances. And one of the best ways to do that is to reflect on a previous workshop you've done, a previous presentation, or think about a future presentation that you've got coming up. How will you use this knowledge and just one or two tips that will make your next presentation more effective, more confident, more engaging for the audience? So let's talk about your body language, your non-verbal communication. I'll let you read this, but basically what research has shown, and they've done the electroencephalograph, that's the EEG, so wires to your brain, and they've had presenters come and present with different types of body language, but the same messages. And what they found out is where the non-verbal communication, your voice, your stance, your posture, your gestures, your breathing, was not congruent to the words that you were saying, the brain patterns showed that people were not as open, were not as ready to take on board your message. So this comes from research from Colgate University. We kind of know it anyhow. So the saying is simply like this: your non-verbal messages will trump your verbal messages. If what you're saying and what your body language is demonstrating are two different things, the body language takes precedent. The body language outweighs that of the words that are coming out your mouth. So this lady's sitting back, arms fold, not really smiling. Come on in. I am so pleased to see you. As I walked into that room hearing those words, I would be a little bit concerned for my future, because clearly her posture, her body language, her closed stance, the arms folded, don't indicate to me that she's pleased to see me. And that will take precedence, that will trump the words that she has said. I love this quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Your actions speak so loud that I cannot hear what you're saying. Your actions speak so loudly that I cannot hear what you're saying. In other words, your body language, your smile, the handshake, your stance, your facial expressions, all of those are speaking volumes about you. And when you're training, when you're speaking, when you're facilitating, it's important that you know that your body language is saying the right thing and is not detracting or diluting your spoken message. So one of the things we do is we spend hours and hours writing up our presentation. We spend hours and hours putting our PowerPoint slides together, creating our notes, our graphs, and then we go on the stage, we go before the room, and we can potentially blow it all if we don't know what our body is saying about us. So this webinar is to give you some ideas and some tips around where you may be sabotaging your message because of poor body language. So I'm going to share 6 or 7 common mistakes I see, and you can do a self-audit, a self-check. Do you do any of these? So the first one. Just to say, it's important that you are aware of the balance. So no matter how richly you load up the words, the language, the humble potato, your body language, will outweigh the messages. So really important to be aware of the balance of what your nonverbals, your voice, your gestures are saying, and how aligned, how congruent they are to the words, the message you're saying. They say, I'm really happy to be here, and they have a stern and serious face, or a body language that doesn't indicate to me that they want to be here. So when I get before an audience, sometimes I'm speaking to high school kids. The high school kids don't want to be there. I need to demonstrate that I want to be there. And if I say I'm really pleased to be here and I'm going to share some of my knowledge, my body language needs to mirror that. What do you do when you stand before an audience? Is your body language opening? Is your body language open and welcoming? Now, I understand there will be times when these particular body languages are appropriate for what you're saying. It's when people start off this way and they say, I'm happy to be here, I'm going to share my knowledge, I'm really passionate, and their stance is something like this. This stance would be absolutely perfect. This stance would be perfect if we were talking about bad results. And as a team, I know we can work together to turn this around. So come on, guys, let's get together and we can do better. Or I'd like to talk to you about a serious accusation that's been made against our team. And this is really important. So I'm not saying that these are wrong body languages. They just don't work with the words, I'm really happy to be here. So please just be aware of how you're starting your presentation and what you're going to do in terms of your body language. Part of it's your self-awareness. What is your body saying about you? How do you know? Check in a mirror. Video record yourself. Get someone to give you feedback. Our Prime Minister in Australia a few years ago, Julia Gillard, got criticised for her non-verbal communication. This particular gesture was in the election campaign when the slogan was moving forward, yet the hand signals seemed to be pushing back or stopping. So Julia got criticism, maybe unfairly, about how her body language was not in line with what she was saying. And as a result of that, they changed their campaign slogan midway through from moving forward because the Australian public didn't believe the words that were coming out of the mouth of the politicians because of this non-verbal language. So just be aware of the type of signals and what you're saying. Need to be congruent. Big crowd, this one, big audience, And they say, I'm really excited to be here. So that was my opening, but I only had my voice. You can't see me. Really excited to be here. As they step backwards from the audience, walking towards the back of the room, probably from stage fright, probably because they don't want to be there, probably they're a little bit shy, but what it's saying is, no, you're not excited to be here. You would rather be somewhere else. So the best thing to do if you're doing a keynote presentation and you've got a big audience, assuming this is the back of the room and this is the front of the room, I would start about 2/3 back, and as I'm speaking, I would say, I'm really pleased to be here. Today we're going to have a great time, and I'm going to share lots of information as I move forward. What I see is people start in the middle and they gradually move back as they speak, diluting their message, indicating they don't want to be here. So start around 2/3 back, move forward with enthusiasm, with energy that illustrates that, yes, I want to be here and I am excited to be here with you today. We're going to have a great webinar, we're going to have a great seminar, we're going to have a great workshop. Just be careful. This is the back of the room, this is the front of the room. Notice all my arrows have finished about there. Please be careful that you don't stand in people's personal space. So don't come too far forward to the crowd. Then the individuals will feel you're invading their personal space. So just be aware of that. The third thing is what I call lectern lean. Now, sometimes in conferences you need to have lecterns, but my recommendation is that we come away from the lectern and stand in the middle of the room. It shows a willingness to be open, a willingness to share, a willingness to be honest, a willingness not to hide behind a barrier. The lectern, the table, the podium is a barrier that we can put between ourselves and our audiences. So when you stand behind the lectern, I wouldn't say I want to have an open and honest two-way discussion. I would leave the lectern, leave the safety of the lectern, move to the middle of the room, no barriers. Here I am, happy to talk to you. I would really like to have an honest and open discussion about the future of our organisation. Avoid lectern lean. Understand in big conferences, maybe you've got a PowerPoint presentation going on over your back, but you can still black the PowerPoint slide. You can put in a place where you pull the slide down and then you can walk into the middle of the room and have those honest, tough discussions. They say, I'm open to any questions now. So towards the end of my presentation, I'm open to any questions. Are there any questions? I don't think that I'm going to ask any questions of this gentleman. I don't think that he wants questions at all. Oops, I'll just erase that drawing. I have to go to normal pointer. I don't think I'm going to ask any questions of this guy. And this person is more open. So you can see he's smiling. You've asked a question. He's referring to the chart he's spoken about. He's got the smile on his face. He's keen, he's eager. The hand in the pocket, that's a different discussion. If you're comfortable with your hand in your pocket, that's okay. That portrays a relaxed environment, fairly casual. Maybe this workshop is casual. When you get into the bigger presentations, maybe you don't want to put your hand in your pocket, but just avoid that stance, that look. Are there any questions? No, I don't want any questions is what these two guys are saying. Are there any questions? A smile, open gestures, and a preparedness to demonstrate you want to take questions. The next one. So you're a little bit nervous, and it's important to come across as confident. What body language would a confident speaker use? What would they adopt? It wouldn't be passive fig leaves or sort of small shoulders, drop shoulders, hands in pockets. You know, this is quite nice, but it's not demonstrating confidence. This one we call the fig leaf, and this is those shy, passive stance. The body language is saying, I don't really want to be here. Where can I hide? How can I get off the stage? So really important that you portray a confident body language. You've probably heard the saying, fake it until you make it. So walk on stage with a posture of confidence, with a physiology of excellence. Do the deep breathing. Inside, you can be a nervous wreck. Inside, you can be wondering about the audience. This might be a tough gig, but you need to portray confidence. To have a tough gig and a tough audience, and to walk on stage with either of these two stances, either of these two body languages, will probably illustrate to the audience that you're not confident, you're not all that credible, and in fact we may take advantage of you as an audience and really go for you because you don't have that confident stance. This guy walks on stage, smile, hands open, confident. He wants to be there. Ask me any questions you've got. He may be nervous. He may be suffering from stage fright, the way I do. Some of you may have heard the duck. So we know the duck or the swan, the beautiful swan, swims across the water beautifully. Under the water, the legs are churning back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But to the eye, this swan, this duck is just beautifully gliding. So this person may be nervous, but he doesn't look nervous. And that's the beauty of bringing a confident stance to your body language. I'm going to pause for a moment. Are there any questions? Are there any questions that people might have? So what if you're really nervous and you can't stop shaking? Even if you do have that little tremble, that shake, and sometimes a quiver in your voice, most times the audience won't see it. So what I encourage you to do is to be confident and do what a confident person would do with the shake, with that little tremor in your hands, but not the fig leaf, not the hands in the pockets, not the hands behind the back with the shoulders dropped. So even though you're nervous and you may be shaking a little bit, do what a confident person would do. Fake it until you make it. Thank you for that question. They say that this is really, really important, and I want you to listen very carefully. But what they do is they speak very, very quickly, not pausing or stopping at all. And it's like, I just want to get off the stage. If I speak really quickly, I'll be finished and the next person can come on and speak. So be aware of that, especially with the important messages. So if you only do one thing from this webinar, remember your key messages, the take-home messages, make sure you slow down and breathe. Make sure you punctuate. Make sure you use the pause. As opposed to, this is really, really important, and I want you to take this down really quickly. I'm only going to say this once. Very important that you slow down and you pause, because if you speak too fast, if you keep on speaking and don't stop, then people are going to lose your message. So when you get a little bit nervous, or when you get a little bit excited, or when you get to the punchline, do you speed up? Really valuable tool to learn, to pause, to slow down, and to breathe. Trust me. Trust me, I'm a car salesman. Trust me, and I'm a real estate agent. No disrespect to car salesmen or real estate agents. They don't score that highly on the trust. I think pharmacists and nurses are the highest trusted professions in Australia. When you get to those call to actions, those trust me, when you're sharing the messages, make sure you make eye contact with the audience. I understand you may need to look to the floor or look to the roof to gather your thoughts, to remember things, but when you come to those parts of your presentation where you really must get buy-in from the audience, you're selling your message, please make eye contact. And you can move your eye contact to different parts of the room, but what the audience will see is that you're looking at someone. You're being genuine, you're being authentic, and you're being honest through the eye contact. One of the things that people do when they lie, and they use this in interview techniques, is they tend to break eye contact. So it's about that trust and the honesty. All right. Any last questions before I go into some upcoming workshops? Workshops all around Australia. You know how to get to my workshops. Go to my website and go to events. What do you do? So I have a question from Stephen. What do you do if you're naturally a fast speaker? When we write a speech for a member of parliament or for a minister, what we do is we put a double slash where we want them to deliberately pause. So if you don't naturally pause, what you can do is, as you're writing a speech, put a couple of double slashes, and those double slashes, they mean you need to stop talking for 2 to 3 seconds. That means you say something, and then you leave the audience those few seconds to take in what you've said. And then when you read your speech, when you're practicing, the double slashes will prompt you for that deliberate pause. And over time, as you take that idea to the platform, to your workshops, you will naturally pause because you've practiced it. So workshops all around Australia, feel free to share these with your colleagues or friends. Got some in Bendigo and Mildura and Shepparton that are not showing up as yet, so quite a good trip to Victoria. Next webinars, these will be in our newsletter on our website shortly. Friday the 3rd of February, 7 strategies to prime your audience. So to get your audience ready. You know when you go to a movie and you smell popcorn, you've seen the movie trailers, you're excited, and you walk into that movie theatre ready to watch the movie. What can you do to get your audience ready before you present, ready to hear what you've got to say? And on the 20th of Feb, 8 tips to build your self-confidence as a speaker. A lot of people struggle with their self-confidence. They do speaking, they don't like it, and they want to know, how can I build my confidence? So take home today is just remember that your non-verbal message trumps your verbal message. So if what you're saying and your body language, your voice, your breathing, your eye contact, your handshake are not aligned with the words, then you know that nonverbal is going to trump. Are you aware of what your body language says about you? Do a self-audit, get some feedback. So I'm going to leave the webinar there. You know you can email any further questions, and if I can be of any further assistance, feel free to contact me.